everyone. Welcome to our weekly Daily Joy team call. I am so excited, like I am every single week, to see your beautiful faces or just to see your names on the screen. I am just super excited for all of you to be here tonight. I'm excited for you guys to meet up with my friend, Dr. Jessica Hoogendoorn. You guys, before I actually got in her space this past year, we connected at a line and the Brooke Hemingway event that she does every January. Then we became friends through the mastermind. We've been roommates a few times. I have some secrets about her that I am not going to share. But before I met her personally, I remember just like being in awe of her, just loving her. I just would always think if I could sit at the feet of this woman and listen to her knowledge and her wisdom. So when she agreed to come on our team call tonight, I was like, we have got to get the people on this call tonight because she is a wealth of information. Not only is she one of my favorite, not the favorite, because there's some other girls on here that might get a little butthurt if I say this too much, but she's one of my favorite bed buddies. we've shared some rooms together and we have had so much fun together. And my friend, I just love you. I'm so thankful that the Lord has crossed our paths and we've become more than business partners through Plexus, but we've become friends. And I'm just so excited to hear from you tonight. And I know that all of these ladies on here are really excited to hear some of the things that you're going to talk about. And interestingly enough, someone messaged me today another time and she goes, "Hey, do you know if Jessica Hoogendoorn, does she have a video on menopause?" And I was like, "No, she doesn't. I don't know if she does actually,
She
but
does as of yesterday.
she's going to be on my call tonight." So they're like, "Give me the recording." So anyways, my friend, I appreciate you so much. And we are just dying. They want to hear from you. So take it away.
Oh, you're so sweet. I won't room with almost anybody. I will pay a lot more to have my own space, but Angie is someone that I do not mind rooming with. We always have fun. We just jive well. And so I always choose her whenever we're traveling. So and yes, I actually do have a menopause video because I did a call with my team a little bit ago and I recorded it. And because it really is a hot topic of perimenopause, menopause. But the fun thing is that it's not just, most of what I'm going to share tonight is not just for perimenopause or menopause, because the same principles applies to women that are cycling with a few exceptions. Thank God you don't have hot flashes or night sweats when you start cycling. But for the other aspects of it, so much of it weaves in together. So you'll be able to use a lot of this with people that are cycling, even young women. Really, tonight will apply to in many ways as well. Again, with a few exceptions. So for me, always, it's not just about supplements. In that, I always tie in diet because you cannot outpill your issue if your diet does not come in alignment. And it doesn't mean that you have to go all in because everybody has, we all don't travel with a stick of butter. But when we're with Angie, there's butter with everything. She's chomping butter like we chomp anything else, and I absolutely love it. And that will go very well with a lot of people that want to do that. And then you have someone else is that they're the 80-20, and then there's someone else that they're the 90-10, and someone else are the 60-40. But the more you eat in alignment with your goals, the faster you're going to be. And so if someone stalls or someone has, they're working and they kind of hit a plateau, the first thing I'll address is their diet. When it comes to hormones, your diet is basically number one, and the quality of supplements and how you can target them goes right there next to it. And the reason being is that if you're having a diet that is higher in carbs that convert to sugar, or a diet that is high in sugar, anything that is affecting your insulin, it's going to have an instantaneous effect in your hormones, whether you feel it right away or not. And I think the more that we get in tune with our body, the more we're going to feel the change when we eat. So for example, here's why. Anytime that that sugar hits your bloodstream, insulin is going to rush in to clean it up. And when this becomes a daily habit, insulin turns numb, which leads to insulin resistance, which we've heard a lot of people in the plexus world for a while. But one of the biggest drivers of hormone chaos, weight gain, hot flashes, and fatigue is this up and the down. Now, if you think about it, we think, yeah, sugar, But I want to give you an example. If a child has cereal for breakfast, they're going to have this response. What the hormones that are released when it's up and down is cortisol and adrenaline. Kids go crazy with sugar, or there's, we always hear that. Well, what about if then during their lunch they have a peanut butter and jelly, they have a juice box, they have chips, they have a cookie or a granola bar? They're going to have the same extreme, and that becomes a lifestyle. They come home and they may grab a bag of chips, or maybe they'll have something kind of good, but they'll have more juice or chocolate milk or something. Then at supper time, if they have pizza or spaghetti or something, that child has had an absolute chaos internally when it comes to hormones. And you'll see girls cycling earlier and earlier for a variety of reasons. This is one of them. You'll see ADD, ADHD, or depression and anxiety, mental health issues right here, which can change like this if you change their diet, sometimes within a week or so. But the hormone aspect is huge, which is why you see so many young girls with hormone issues. Another thing that happens is when you have these hard crashes, ups and downs, like we were talking about, cortisol, the stress hormone, is released to rescue you. It's trying to save you from this fluctuation. Over time, this roller coaster starts to burn out the adrenals, because your adrenals cannot have surges of cortisol and adrenaline going back and forth like this that leaves you anxious, wired, tired, irritable, and then craving more sugar because your body is going down. It says, I need to get up. And so you crave the sugar. So what starts to happen then is you have adrenal fatigue. But when you have high insulin levels like this, that is a signal to the body to create fat stores. So it has to get this sugar out of this glucose out of the system. So it creates fat cells to put this to hold it. That's one of the aspects that it happens. And this fat tissue starts to make estrogen. That's why when you have sugar-heavy diets, that often causes estrogen dominance, PMS, mood swings, irregular cycles, and more intense perimenopause symptoms. Women, when they're in perimenopause, will especially often have more intense hot flashes, night sweats, anything that you're experiencing hormonally, when you have sugar, will be exacerbated. And so when you're going into, sometimes even women have told me, they'll go out to eat and they'll have something they're not usually used to. Maybe they're used to eating healthier at home, and that night they'll just have terrible hot flashes, or they'll be so irritable. Think of your kids, irritability. This is a process going on with them, just shown a different way. When you're in perimenopause, we just experience maybe different symptoms. Irritability, I want to curl varnish off with my fingernails, whatever it may be, it's exacerbated. So what happens is then we start to have inflammation. And whenever you have a lot of inflammation going on, this disrupts your hormone signaling, especially your thyroid and sex hormones. How many people do you know are struggling with thyroid issues? And as this goes on, it slows down the metabolism. Your night sweats gets worse, your bloating is worse, your fatigue is worse. And so that's why when we're talking about perimenopause and menopause, we're not really just talking about declining estrogen. We're talking about blood sugar fluctuation. We all know what sugar does to the gut bacteria. And we're talking about inflammation hijacking your hormones long before menopause even begins. So that's how when I'm talking about hormones, I'm like, tell me about your diet. We got to address blood sugar, inflammation, and gut health, because these are driving everything. So when you're experiencing your diet, if your diet is not coming into alignment with your goals and you're really struggling, this is why I say look at this, because when your cortisol stays high, it steals your progesterone. When your blood sugar is out of balance, you're going to have all the symptoms we talked about. And then what starts to happen is your liver has to deal with all of this. Your excess estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone, all your hormones, when they're done, go to the liver to be filtered out and gotten rid of. When your liver is the first organ compromised, when your gut is compromised, that often happens at childhood. If you can see it if teenagers struggling with acne, if they're struggling with depression, if there's mental health, all those things are going on. You know, the liver's been compromised along with the gut. And so as you get going into perimenopause, you've had a lifetime. If you've not really been working and supporting your liver is not going to be able to keep up with this fluctuation. And so it starts to happen, and your liver detox pathways become slow, and this causes hormone buildup. And then as the gut becomes more inflamed from, let's say, a diet that is not in alignment, that's going to start affecting serotonin, your sleep, your immunity. And this shows up as irregular cycles in younger people. Perimenopause and menopause, you also start to have irregular cycles, but then you start to gain weight around the midsection. That's when the night sweats and the hot flashes come. If this dysregulation is going on, anxiety, irritability, fatigue, brain fog, cravings, dry skin, all of this is exacerbated and doesn't have to happen if the stage had not been set beforehand. Does that make sense so far? Put in the chat if this is kind of making sense. And you can see why I don't, when I talk about this, I don't just talk about, I'm going to get into our products now, but it's a combination. If people are taking our products, because I want you to have this information, that if people are taking our products and they're still saying, I still am not seeing the results I want, this is why. Make sense? And that's why I said, this is where my foundation is. I did a post on my wall on menopause, I think yesterday or the day before. And I have a video that I recorded on it, a lot with what we're talking about tonight. And I'm telling people, this is why. It's not that our products aren't working. It's that this is happening in the background. Our products will work. It doesn't mean that you may not need down the road BHRT or something else. However, so much of what you're dealing with, if this comes in alignment, will work. And our products will help you fly in so many ways. Why is that? The first one, I'm going to talk just basically about 3 of them tonight. And I'm going to talk about the Slim, the X Factor, and the Restore, because they are the foundation for menopause. Of course, I want the Probio 5 and BioCleanse. You need to be pooping. And if there's anxiety, absolutely add in Vital Biome, because Vital Biome does help to balance cortisol fluctuations. But for the sake of time today, I'm just going to talk about these 3. The magnolia bark and the berberine is what I call the dual power for hormone balance in our Restore. Those 2 together help to lower cortisol, help to support progesterone, help reduce estrogen dominance if it needs to be. Some women are low on estrogen in menopause. It helps to stabilize your mood, improve sleep, and support insulin sensitivity. And when that happens, the cravings start to go down, the crashes start to go down, and the belly fat starts to go down. So those 3 together are really the ones that are kind of the cornerstone of addressing what we talked about above. Because berberine is, you often say, does plexus have berberine? Now we do, because berberine is kind of next to chromium when it comes to blood sugar balance. And those 2 together are dynamite when it comes to helping control blood sugar. Because if we cannot control blood sugar, we will not be able to control cortisol or adrenaline. And there goes our progesterone, our thyroid, and when progesterone goes, estrogen goes. So really, when we talk about blood sugar, it's not just talking about blood sugar. Really, blood sugar is everything when it comes to controlling our hormones and controlling especially perimenopause and menopause. And then when you have this inflammation going on, where the Restore comes in so beautifully is, I love the ginger root, because that helps with inflammation. It also helps with liver support. And the aloe and the peppermint are very calming and very helping the hormones to recycle. And so that's really a big deal when it comes to helping the liver and helping the body to get rid of this excess hormones. I love how the yeast hydrolysate helps with the fat metabolism, helps with the lean muscle mass, and then you get the nutrients with spirulina and spinach is very good nutrients. One of the things that happens when we do not, when our estrogen is fluctuating, we start to not be able to absorb nutrients as well. So you know how when people get older and they tend to they tend to be more frail and all that, they're actually starving of nutrients. When our estrogen becomes an imbalance and our hormones are doing this fluctuation, we do not absorb nutrients as well. That's why we need things that enhance our absorption of nutrients, which is why I love that in our X Factor, in our Hydrate, in our Restore, we have aloe, because that's a must when it comes to um, absorption. When you're going through menopause and perimenopause, it's even more important because during this yo-yo, and most women are yo-yoing to some degree, your body is having trouble taking in nutrients, even if you're getting good nutrients. Even if your diet is what it's supposed to be, you still can struggle, which is why I really encourage ease with a meal or a strong digestive enzyme, especially as we get older, something with HCl in it, because we struggle with it. Why I love the aloe and the restore is even if we're having this yo-yo, it's going to help control the yo-yo, but it's going to help to take in the nutrients. X Factor Plus is what I mean. You're going to take in the nutrients with the aloe. So going on to the liver, talking about why the liver. I've talked about that a lot. With the liver, we're talking about the liver is processing. One of the things that I really love to do if women are really struggling and they're really having hot flashes, using castor oil packs over your liver and helping to support that way, because that helps to move things along. Doing liver flushes, I love Dr. Andrew Moritz's. But on Restore, if someone's really struggling and they've not done a lot of detox, start them on half a cap right before they go to bed so they can sleep through a lot of it. Then work up to 1 cap and work up to two capfuls. And you know what? I sometimes do more. The law on Brooks Summit, I talked about the law of compensation. If you're really struggling, when someone's really struggling with this, I suggest 2 slim a day, maybe 1 hunger control, 1 microbiome, and work up to 2 restore a day. And if you want to, and they can handle it, do another restore in the morning and 2 scoops at night or something. Like Lori Harrison says, take an apple for a binder or take a binder, whatever you choose, to help with this. But this is the key to balancing is blood sugar, liver, inflammation, and gut. And when your liver starts to work, it's going to clear the excess hormones. It's going to reduce inflammation. Your skin will improve. Your sleep will improve. Your mood will improve, because all the junk that happens as we're going through this yo-yo, the liver has to do something with it, and that's why Restore is so powerful with the liver. So, oh, I just lost you. I hit something on my screen and you all disappeared. Hold on, where'd you go? All just disappeared. Okay, there you are. I couldn't see anymore. Okay, why do I love the X Factor Plus? So the X Factor Plus, when we're talking about the replenishing of nutrients, the X Factor Plus helps to replenish nutrients, which is really a big deal because, again, we were talking about the absorption issues and how that affects us when we're getting older. But the polyphenols in there are those particular ingredients are super, super helpful when it comes to like when it comes to the night sweats, when it comes to the am I just drawing a blank? When it comes to the night sweats, when it comes to the moods, when it comes to the irritability in that, Plexus has specific ingredients in it that help to deal with that, which is really a big deal. And again, with the aloe being a really big deal. I just wrote down a couple notes here that I wanted to bring out and didn't want to forget with that. Okay, so in Slim, one of the ingredients that I really like and is the alpha lipoic acid. And alpha lipoic acid is something that also as well helps the liver. And again, we're focusing on the liver. We want to bring that into like highlight it because it's really is everything when it comes to menopause. But in the X Factor Plus is also ingredients that really target you must have the minerals because those are the basically what our body uses for signaling in a huge way, but they also are huge for repair. But the methylated Bs, whenever we're under stress, if you see people that they'll have a pen and they'll be clicking the pen like crazy, they'll be swinging their leg, they can't handle stress very much. Those are the people that are very often low in B vitamins. And so when you're having those cortisol surges, when your adrenals are fatigued, when all this is going on, and plus you're struggling with absorption, you will need a lot of B vitamins. So I really encourage people, like this last 2 weeks prior to the summit, I was taking double my X Factor because my body was burning through more. And depending on where in your cycle, you'll notice that even more yourself as to if you need more. But think of it this way: when if a woman is in menopause, going through menopause, having these surges, having the night sweats, don't be scared to take more of your B vitamins, because your stress specifically depletes B vitamins. And so also I love the fact that there's a lot of very calming, like the aloe vera, again, very soothing to reducing inflammation, but also, again, like I said, helping with the absorption. So with the Vital Biome, I want to bring in the Vital Biome just a little bit. If someone is really struggling with anxiety because of the inflammation in the gut, and like I said, I really would love the whole triplex and adding in the restore as well. But whenever the gut is affected, your serotonin, as we know, is going to be affected. And the basically the factory, our gut, is not able to make a lot of the neurotransmitters that we need as well, that help with a lot with the calming. The beauty of psychobiotics, and that's what Vital Biome is, the beauty of psychobiotics is they're particular in helping the mental side of it, just the anxiety sometimes, or the inability to handle stress. But one of the things that the ingredients in the Vital Biome is specific to cortisol balancing. And so that's why I really like it. So I was talking to a lady today that was really struggling with exactly what we're talking about tonight. She knows her diet needs to be addressed. But I told her, I said, honestly, when you're in this season, compensate. How do you compensate while you're getting your diet in place? How do you compensate while you're working on everything else behind the scenes? Vital Biome. Because Vital Biome really is that mental balancer that helps you even be able to focus on what it is you need to do. And why do I suggest 2 Slim a day? Is because if we can get the blood sugar into balance and we consistently keep it. So remember, stress is the #1 depleter, and stress will trigger cortisol as well. So if we can keep the blood sugar stable, taking a Slim in the morning, keeping the blood sugar stable, that's going to help a lot of the cortisol, the surges. If our diet comes into alignment, that's going to help the blood sugar stable. That's going to help the cortisol and adrenaline surges. Then in the afternoon, if our body has burned through a lot of our stores, if it's burned through the B vitamins just because of our life and maybe stress, etc., we want to give it that second dose to keep it stable in the afternoon. And so that's why I really encourage, if you can afford to take another 2 X factors, or even 1, to take another Slim in the afternoon, because when we do that, we're keeping the blood sugar stable and we're keeping that yo-yo from going up and down. So that's why, if we look at it as a whole, perimenopause and menopause really come down to how it's going to be for us in a big way. It's going to be determined by how stable we can keep our blood sugar, how we can address inflammation. Ease is wonderful there too, but I want to just keep it simple, because really doing some of the other stuff will reduce inflammation, and supporting our liver. Because when we can do that, we address why so many women struggle with perimenopause and menopause, and why our products are so outstanding in women having the results that they need to. If they don't, look at the diet. If they don't, maybe they need a little bit more than just 1 Slim a day. Does that make sense as to why? That's when I tell women, make fat bombs, like good coconut oil fat bombs, have your protein, and think of it this way: when you're going through perimenopause, you're no longer just grabbing a quick granola bar. You're grabbing granola bar that's going to shoot off. You're going to get a side of cortisol and adrenaline if it's just a granola bar in the middle of the day with nothing to stabilize it. And how we now can also help our kids. We can help our kids' hormones, their journey, so much by not having them on a yo-yo of cortisol and adrenaline with breakfast, snack, lunch, and dinner. Does that make sense? That's all I have for tonight, Angie. I'm happy to take any questions, or
I love that. Such helpful information. And it's funny because people do think that you can just take supplements and all your problems go away. They don't, right? But I love
Mm,
how, especially with the Slim, it changes your taste buds over time, and
it
you are
does.
craving, and I mean, at least for me, all these years in, even back in the beginning, I ate a pretty clean diet, but different than what I eat now. But even then, it was like I wasn't craving the things that I did prior to that.
When you stabilize blood sugar, you actually stabilize cravings. And the beautiful thing of the Slim is that it has a prebiotic that changes the gut bacteria. And as your gut bacteria changes, your mouth bacteria changes. And as your mouth bacteria changes, your cravings change. And so that apps 100%. I didn't go deep into Slim, but Slim is unbiasedly the number one thing I've ever seen to stabilize blood sugar. And for me, like when people say, well, which one would you prefer? They're both good. I actually do one of each because I want the prebiotic benefits and I love the fiber benefits. And so, I mean, this is just scratching the surface of all of it, but Slim can't be overstated in how beneficial that is, and what it does.
Yeah, for sure. Who has questions?
You're welcome, Melissa.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and obviously, I'm not to the menopause phase, and I hope I'm not for a long time because I've been hearing about how good it is to not go into menopause until later in life.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, but I was wondering, so this is about like the cycle, but I'm wondering what the benefits of, I mean, obviously like we're I guess low in iron when we're on our cycle. If there's any males on here, sorry. I don't think there is. But anyways, so could you like explain cuz I know that our Iron Woman is different a little bit. So could you explain a little bit about the benefits of that while you're on your cycle?
Well, I don't think iron has to be low in our cycle.
Okay.
But it can be, but I really, the more iron is a whole topic in of itself, but iron is the assimilation of iron is determined by our gut bacteria. If someone has parasites, they will rob you of iron. So if someone is chronically low in iron and they can't get their iron up, then I will look at parasites because parasites love iron. And so I will do a parasite cleanse, and often that will come down. And so I have found with when I'm working with women, um, their iron will come up if we address the gut and we address parasites if that's an issue. So what I encourage women to do is over their cycle, take more of the you can take more of the Iron Woman and take it maybe with your X Factor. Um, Iron loves vitamin C, so take it even with Immune Plus. That's really good, high in vitamin C, or take vitamin C with it. If that's not enough, then I really encourage them to take desiccated liver with vitamin C and chlorophyll. And that is a good iron shooter. So, but if you're taking it, just always remember if iron's not coming up, check your gut bacteria, check your parasites, and then also look at ferritin levels. And you can get those checked because they're basically the protein that holds the iron. And that ties back into liver, and needing more vitamin A, which is in cod liver oil and or liver. So that's the combination. But really, the more that you take in nutrients and absorb it, iron should not be an issue for a woman. It's just a couple tweaks.
I think too, that's such a good question, Madison, because that's just kind of what we've always been told, right?
Mhm.
Is that's that your iron gets low or whatever. And I think it's because they say women tend to have lower iron, and then we always just associate that with the fact that we have menstrual cycles. Um, I love that you
And
mentioned,
that will take more.
yes, I loved that you mentioned chlorophyll. It's something that I've been taking, off and on. And when I was, yeah, Nature's Sunshine is my favorite.
Get the one without methylparaben.
Okay, I think that's the one I have. Yes, it's their updated one, but I've been taking that for like 15 years. But when I was in cycling stage, praise the Lord, that's gone, ladies. But I took it a whole lot more, a lot more during that time because it really was helpful. And I guess I never even think about mentioning that to reminding my daughter-in-laws, or just different people that I talk to about that. Cause yeah, that is super helpful.
Yeah, when I was living with the Amish and was seeing so many pregnant women in my practice, I had I actually put the recipe in the ebook I released. An a liver shooter, because it was something that either they hemorrhaged or they were tended to be low because multiple babies without a lot of nutrients to build back up often. And liver needs to have vitamin C to really absorb that optimally, which is why if you have it in a meal that has things with vitamin C, it does. But it's liver, chlorophyll, and vitamin C is the fastest way to get iron up in anybody. But if it keeps going down, why is it going down? Is it the gut bacteria because you have to have the right bacteria to absorb? Or is it your parasites? Or yeah, it shouldn't otherwise. Yeah, chlorophyll's amazing. And if a baby's constipated, I give them BioCleanse. Or if they're old enough, give them a little bit of chlorophyll. It's just, I love it. It's good for energy, blood cleansing, so many things. But take your Iron Woman with X Factor for aloe for absorption.
Rebecca said she's pregnant. She's due this next week. And she said that her midwife has her taking chlorophyll as well.
I love it. I drank it the whole way through labor, and then they tried to make me lay down, and I said I can't lay down. I had such back labor, and they made me lay down, and I puked up all my chlorophyll on the bed. And they said, you can stand. And I said, I know that. I have to stand. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else have a question? Okay, well, I do then. So this is a little bit off topic, but since we're all on here, Jessica and I chatted a little bit. I don't know anything about this, but can you give us a brief, like 2-minute talk on coffee cleanse? Coffee enema.
Sure.
I mean,
So,
we're talking about things, girls. Let's just hear it.
oh, well, it's actually it's probably would be one of your best friends in menopause, because instead of your liver having to detox, the difference between a liver flush and a liver detox or coffee enemas is I always recommend coffee enemas with liver flushes. Your body has to work nothing off, it's instantly out. It increases glutathione, I believe, over 600%. But what it does is it stimulates the liver to open up and just let everything go. And it's instantly flushed out. So it is one of the fastest, best ways to detox the liver quickly. So if you're taking Restore and you're doing coffee enemas once or twice a week, you will cut months off of healing. Months. It will usually stop a migraine in its tracks. Migraines are almost always tied to the liver. And so really, if you want to accelerate any healing program, we all know how the power of liver, right? The power of how healthy our liver is. Everything is affected in some way by our liver. Our skin, our hormones, our energy, our everything. And so anything you do to support the liver, which is why Restore is so amazing, and why Slim, even with alpha-lipoic acid, helps the liver. If you do a coffee enema, you've just cut off 2-3 months. I always said of healing. If you do a couple of them, because what would take the body has to slowly release, because it has to release it, and then it's only going to release it if you're having good elimination. And then people tend to get a little bit sick when they detox their liver, which is if somebody gets sick when they do the reset liver, that person is backed up, because if once the liver dumps to the bowel and it doesn't get released, they get sick. You do an enema, you don't have none of that. And so it's like the body doesn't have to work it off, it's just instantly out. So and when if you do the Gerson therapy for cancer, you do 5 a day. That's how powerful they are, because it's one of the biggest healing tools.
Wow. And so what is it about coffee? rather
Well,
than just an
there's certain ingredients in coffee, and if you really want to be technical, sawilsons.com is the place where they grow coffee specifically for coffee enemas. And you don't want it, coffee is one of the highest sprayed crops. So coffee is very healthy if you have organic. Like I do not, you want to have organic coffee or else, yeah. But if you're gonna do it, if you want to do it with the coffee you have, you need a light roast organic coffee for it. But if you're gonna serious about it, go to S.A. Wilson's and get their coffee brewed for cancer centers. It looks like a green coffee bean. When you grind it, it looks like graham cracker crust. Ask me how I know. I tried to make a pie out of it because I thought it was graham crackers, but it was coffee, ground coffee for coffee enemas. But it's just, and I can't pronounce the ingredients. There are certain ingredients in the coffee bean that as soon as you do that and it hits the liver opens and it flushes it out. And so there's so many. In my liver flush page, I have a whole of all the benefits of it, but you can Google that. I love for drinking coffee, the betterlifecoffee.com. I'm a coffee snob is outstanding. It all goes to support, and every penny of it goes to build orphanages and centers for orphans in Nicaragua. My cousin started it. They pick all the coffee by hand, and it supplies jobs for them. So it's not sprayed, it's just delicious coffee. So light roast organic if you're using your own, enema coffee otherwise. It's, you want to heal fast, you can accelerate your healing. Bottoms up.
Well, I just know we'd had a little bit of conversation about it, and I haven't dug into it at all, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna have her undivided attention on this call, so I'm gonna ask the question.
Even we know glutathione, and I think it's 600%, but it's several 100% of an increase in glutathione with coffee enemas. That's your number one immune cancer fighter.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. And
absolutely.
So about the X Factor versus the X Factor Plus, you said if you're in menopause or perimenopause, you should, are you saying you should up the dosage of the X Factor Plus?
I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't. I do.
Okay.
If you're under stress and can't tolerate stress, you're very low in B vitamins as a rule and minerals. And so they're both in X Factor Plus. It also has polyphenols. It also has a microbiome activating complex. And if people love the X Factor Original, totally fine. Take 2 X Factor Plus and take some X Factor Original. Take both. One of each if you like them. But X Factor Plus is specifically made with ingredients with menopause, perimenopause in mind that aren't in the X Factor Original.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Have any additional questions? Everyone has questions till we get on a call, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll shoot over the other recording that I did that has even stuff for menopause. No, for me personally, B vitamins would keep me wide awake. If people are taking, some people don't mind it. There's no way I'd sleep a week if I took X Factor at night. But I have a few people that do. But you always want to take it with food because the minerals need a fat to carry minerals into the bone. And so take it always with a meal or with omegas or something.
Yeah. I see that question that Allie asked there. So I sometimes take them in the morning, but sometimes I do take them at night. And I personally haven't found that they keep me awake, but I'm not always, if I take them in the morning, it's not with food because I'm not an early eater. So you think it would be
well, you need to take it with fat.
Okay.
Calcium doesn't get into the bone without a fat. Easily, at least.
Okay. Well, I do eat a lot of fat, so I'll take that with my
steak.
You
do.
All right. Well, if no one else has any questions, thank you so much for coming on and educating us. And when you send me the video that you did earlier, I will share that in our team chat so that they can all take a look at that as well.
Absolutely.
All right, friends.
All right.
See you soon.
See you soon. See you, ladies.
Bye. Oh my goodness, ladies. She has such good information. I am going to have to go back and re-listen just so that I can get the wording down. I mean, so much of this stuff, obviously we know, but just hearing the why, because do you ever have people that ask you those things? Why should you take this? Why should you take that? What's the difference between, you know, taking the MBA versus the HC? I always recommend people take the MBA in the morning. And then if they, are looking for weight loss specifically, if they're taking two, then I have them take the HC in the afternoon. Anybody else have a different thought on that?
Not on that specifically, but I'm just sitting here thinking for that call because that's exactly like I've got one person that like is waiting like patiently, not rushing, and I gave her some other information on some other stuff, but like this is what I needed to find.
Yeah.
Like quality answers on to just shoot it to her and let her digest a little bit of like just the perfect combination of it being Jessica, a doctor. It's not just talking about plexus. It's not just, it's like she was all over the science, and that was fantastic.
Mhm. That's one reason I really like sharing her videos. She has the one about why plexus over other supplements. And then she has the one on GLP-1. And, as we all know, when someone has, the title before them, people do listen differently than they do someone who doesn't. But I feel like she explains it in layman's terms. It's not, I mean, some of the, medical terminology I don't always understand, but she does a really good job of kind of bringing it down to earth, so to speak. Does anybody else agree with that? Just making it kind of a little bit more simple to understand. And man, she was hitting on all the things yeah, I see that in the chat. The vital biome. Oh yes, I take that like candy, baby. But I am gonna maybe up my X Factor Plus because I usually only take one of those. So I might just up that to two. But I personally can tell a huge difference, even though my eating is pretty much 90-10 on carnivore. On Tuesday nights when we meet at the office, I cheat just a little bit sometimes. And I always end up having hot flashes, and it never connected. It just hit me tonight when she said that, for me personally, because I eat so clean the rest of the time. And Allie's like, yes, but it's so fun. I know, but oh, but then mommy has to suffer with hot flashes when she gets out. But anyways, I thought that was a really great call. I did record it. So we'll be able to have that information. I might be able to back some of this information out that we're talking about now. As a matter of fact, let me stop the